So what's the grape explorer talking about today? Well, we are back to discussing the Alexander Penet range of champagnes. This is our final range that we were talking with Darren, who is actually the Englishman of Champagne, and we want to give you a toast there.
Yes.
And cheers. And it's been a great visit here, talking about Alexander Penet, but really now we're getting down into what we consider to be the top, right? The creme de la creme, the best of the champagnes. And you can explain this to us, Darren. These are two wines that we're tasting here, but this is the one that we have in our glass here. Yeah. And this is 2010 Les Fervents.
Yeah, Les Fervents. This is a 2010 vintage. It's a single vineyard champagne. It's co-planted, so we have both grape varieties growing on that single plot. It's 70% Pinot Noir, 30% Chardonnay. It's under 5 grams of sugar, so well into extra brut territory.
We get a lot of that mineral expression out
Lots
of the nose,
of minerality.
Right? And that's quite unusual for champagne. We were discussing this earlier with Alexander, that a lot of producers really don't strive to go after this kind of mineral expression, but Alexander really works hard at this to try to.
Really does
but the vineyard speaks for itself.
Vineyard speaks for itself. The fact that we're dosing low, 4.8 grams, it's allowing that minerality to really, express itself. Wonderful wines. These can be definitely paired with food. White meat you could have with this. But I can drink it just like that.
But we compare this to white burgundy. So if we taste really, top level Meursault, we're getting the same expression. We're getting that mineral tone with the beautiful Chardonnay kind of fruit that's really expressive, but also the Pinot Noir.
The Pinot Noir expressing the sort of the mature style that's giving you that cooked fruit type of style.
Right.
The Chardonnay really lifting up the back end.
Yeah.
30%. Keeping the tension going, keeping that minerality really fresh. Wonderful.
And then this other one is the 2010, but it's a different vineyard.
Yes, serve yourself, please.
And it's right next door, right to
right over the road from it. Over the road, I say.
So historically, when we were talking to Alexander, he was explaining to us that these names on these single vineyards have been established for many years, but nobody really knows where these names historically came from. But they had that name, and that name was based on the soil composition, which is really cool. I think it's
a great thing, The monks at the time were, tending to gardens up at the top of here, the forest and things, and they are the guys that originally named all of these plots and parcels. And some of these plots are shared. We have some wine or some vines on the Fervent plot, but then maybe another winemaker will also share the same plot, but it's not our land or his land. That land was named like that. So these are what we call in French lieux-dits.
But you don't see that in too much areas now in Champagne, or you're starting to see.
Not all the time. I mean, some people will choose to put that point forward,
right,
as we have done, and say, look, the name of the plot is such and such. And I think it's interesting for people to know where it comes from,
Yeah, and this is so unique in Champagne. Again, Champagne is historically, just comes out with their brand, and they sell. It could be different. If you want to say blends of all different vineyards, you never know where the sources of the fruit are coming from, especially from some of the bigger names. And it's a house style that they go for. But when you taste these champagnes, they're just so unique in its own style. You're never going to taste a champagne that's like this. It's completely unique because of the soil, not only soil composition, but and this is all limestone, right? Alexander was explaining this is
chalk,
limestone and chalk, which is the beauty of Champagne, because when you taste wines like this, the expression is just incredible.
These two champagnes in particular, both of these ones are vinified in stainless steel, so there's no oak influence over the wine. We've got nice, honest wines. Everything that we're getting from there is coming from the fruit.
And this is just absolutely beautiful. And so 2010. And a lot of people would say, well, 2010 is that kind of old for Champagne? No, it's
fresh.
It's very fresh. It's almost like you tasted a wine that just came out of the tank. I mean, it's so. But that's because of the natural acidity also that exists in these wines from the soil composition.
And no malolactic fermentation as well. So across the board, there's no mallow, and the result is a type of wine. We age these wines a little longer to gain in drinkability. And so all along the way, you're picking up these wonderful complexities, wonderful maturity of the Pinot Noir.
I've tasted champagne for, 30, 40 years. I have never had champagnes that had that kind of expression, though, where you taste it and you say, wow, it has another layer of dimension. You can get the fruit, that's nice. When you taste champagne, you get a nice little fruitiness out of the wines. But this turns on the jets, right?
Yeah,
it almost has like this afterburner that just gives the wines even more complexity and more oomph and more lift. This is beautiful. And talk a little bit about this champagne quickly. This is their tribute to the two daughters that Alexander.
Yeah, this is our top cuvée. This is Colin and Candice, named after Alexander's two daughters. It's a 50-50 blend, 50% Pinot and 50% Chardonnay. It's, again, extra brut, so less than 6 grams of sugar per litre. And it's barrel fermented.
That's a terrific champagne. Again, this is a Grape Explorer. We're just having a great time here in Champagne, but one of my passions will always be champagne, but this is really a tribute to a great champagne house. Cheers.